Hello everyone. Welcome to Create Red Deer and Paper Route Scrapbooking. I'm Nadine and I'm going to be your creator for tonight. We are going to do a little create along live with the Create Red Deer store. I will be live on both the Facebook page for Create as well as my own Facebook page at Paper Route Scrapbooking. So I hope that some of you will pop on here in the next little bit. Okay, so if you watched my live stream from last week, which was a bit of a surprise to everyone, including myself, we are going to be working with the Legendary Collection by Paige Evans at Pink Fresh Studio for the month of March in our live streams. So this collection is so fun. It has bright, bold colors, usable for all kinds of things. You could do travel and anything that you would post on your socials. You can put that into this collection because that's basically the theme of it. So the theme is kind of like, here's what I would post on my Facebook page or my Instagram or my TikTok. So anywhere that you post your photos publicly, that would work here too. But it doesn't have to be, of course, because the B-sides of this is just super phenomenal with the tone-on-tone colors of the green and the yellow and the red and the orange and the blues. It's just so much fun. If you haven't already picked up the Legendary Collection, it is available in the shop. I am going to be working with the 12 by 12 paper pack, like I mentioned last week, as well as with the cardstock stickers, chipboard phrase stickers. There is also a pack of cardstock stickers, but I chose these ones for now. So we have, these are the chipboard ones, and they have some titling options as well as a few little things on there, but mostly they're wordy bits. So, but like you can see on here, next level content, worth a view. So, you know, those kinds of, if you're posting reels, or it's just to kind of say, I could also post this on my social media, but right now I'm putting in my scrapbook. So that's kind of the vibe this one is giving, which is kind of fun, right? Because we post our things for our friends to see immediately, but we're also making our scrapbooks for future generations to look at. And I also got these enamel shapes. So we have hearts and dots. They're also super cute. This was the thing that first attracted me to the collection. So there's those. Also in the shop, you can pick up fabric border strips, which is super cool. And they give that extra different texture to your layouts as well. There's also a puffy alpha, which I looked at very closely, but I already have that color of alpha, which I'm going to be using tonight, but in a different font and stuff. So I'll show you the one that I have, which I also got at the shop. And then ephemera icons and icon ephemera, and journaling ephemera are also both available with this collection, as well as a set of puffy stickers, a set of 6 by 12, so like this same size of cardstock stickers. And there's also a 6 by 8 paper pad if you like the smaller version. Okay, so we have the paper pack, which we looked at last week, and it's a good thing that I did that because I ended up cutting into this, like I mentioned in that video, and I cut apart some pieces so that I had some die cut pieces. Because I didn't buy the ephemera packs, I decided to go with what was already in the papers, which is a little bit of a budgeting tip. So if you're on a tighter budget for your scrapbooking, definitely look to the paper pad or the mini paper pad to make your own embellishments. So we'll go through and I'll show you where I got all of these things from, okay? Because they were right out of here. I didn't buy anything extra for that. But there is a journaling ephemera pack. If fussy cutting's not your jam, that's totally cool. There's a icon ephemera pack and a journaling ephemera pack available for this collection. You don't have to fussy cut it to get all the things, okay? So here is the cover page. It gives you a good idea of what is in the collection. Now, I will probably use the back of that at some point as my white cardstock, right? So last week I did end up making that layout. I don't know if you saw, but I put it on the Create Crew group. Definitely go over there and check it out. I did add something since I posted there though, because when I was doing the cut apart pieces. I saw this that says great things never come from comfort zones, which I thought went really well with my layout. So I cut that one out and added it on. But yeah, so this is how it turned out. I ended up putting a black border around the outside just to kind of contain the layout. And I used the piece that I cut off to make that, to bring it down to 11.5 by 11.5. I used the 1/2 inch strip to anchor my photo. So what I did though was, because this is all arrows, right? So I wanted the arrows to all be going to my photo. Like I turned the paper so that I could put my photo here. All the arrows are going that way. So with this one, because triangles are kind of like arrows, I cut it right about here and then turned this piece so that it was faced, this is already triangling towards my photo, and I turned this piece the other way so that it was also pointing towards the photo. Okay, so just a little trick about like bringing in the eye, right? My letters are not 100% straight, but because I was using their chipboard and I was using white glue, once they were on, they were on. So it is what it is. It's handmade. But yeah, so fun, right? Trending now. And my journaling talked about, if the first thing it says is out of my comfort zone. So it said great things never come from comfort zones. So I was like, perfect to go with my journaling. So I added that on there. Okay, so that was my layout from last week that I didn't really create online, but I decided that this was the paper I was going to use. Okay, so that was my first piece that I cut up and used, and this is all that's left of it, is this little strip here. And it was the, what is it called? This is the Vibe paper with all the arrows. Okay, then I cut apart this paper, which I ended up cutting out of the middle rows because they had all of these two rows had all of the different buildings. So those are the ones I ended up fussy cutting so that I could have a variety of different options in buildings. So it had the outdoor gear, the coffee shop, the paint shop, the plant shop, the book shop, all of the things that I wanted in these two rows. So I cut out of the middle and left these two pieces, and I'm going to keep the blue side up because for the rest of it, that's probably the side I will use. And then this paper, like I said I was going to do, so that was my little buildings that I cut out. I also, a couple of the trees I was able to fussy cut without cutting into the building. So some of them are behind the building in the images, so I didn't cut those ones out, but the ones that weren't, I cut them. So I'll have a few buildings to pop up on that row too. I don't know when I'm going to get to that. It's not going to be today. Okay, so those are from that page. Then this one, I did fussy cut out the images that look like geometric flowers. So I did, I think 2 rows of those, roughly. Yeah. So 2 rows of those, and then a couple of them were right up against the edge of the page. So I did cut them out because if I'm going to tuck them, then I can cover up that flat side, right? So there we go. And then I also cut some of the little white ones to go on my pages as well as embellishments. So 2 rows gave me, I think, enough of what I'm going to need for using this collection. Okay, so I did 2 rows with the white. They're a little cute, almost like, look like daisies, but in a geometric kind of pattern. And then I can use either side of that on like further pages. This strip is also from here. Oh, this one is the one. So I cut off the thing and I cut the 2 that I liked the most, and then I saw that one that I ended up putting on the other page because it was so perfect, and I'm not opposed to cutting other ones out if they're perfectly matching with my layouts. So there's still more here. I could definitely still use this side if I want to, but yeah, that's what I did with that one. I didn't cut out all the badges, just some of them, the ones that I thought I was most likely to use. Okay, not like 2 rows I thought I was most likely to use. So there was that. Then from this paper, it was the numbery one, and I thought these ones are all like partial cards, so I cut out the center. I just did. I just cut out the center almost like I was gutting the paper to use it as a frame. And I think maybe I will use it as a frame. I could do that today because I'm hoping to use a yellow background. So this would look cool around the outside. So I could do that. But for that, I had all the ones from the center were full. So I cut all the numbers. Okay, so I can use either side of those cards, right? If I just want to pop a red, I can put that in there. Or I can use these, which I have a couple of ideas for. So I don't think, I might get one on the layout today, but I'm not sure. We'll see. Okay. So that's what that one was. And then this one, as you saw, I used it for my journaling on this layout here. There we go. So I just printed on white cardstock and added it to the top. And then my layout for today, I printed the journaling right directly onto, doesn't want to focus, does it? Right directly onto that by running it through my printer. And so I cut those out to be my journaling spots. So I only cut a couple of rows, and what that left me with is a few that I can use that are full. And I'm leaving myself the option to cut more or to use this side. Because I wanted to kind of be able to do both. And that left me with some of these partial ones, which I think would be good for tucking pieces. You know what I'm saying? So I could tuck this at the bottom of a photo. I could tuck this at the bottom and this at the top because they end, right? So some of them are only partial. So I cut them that way and thought, even if they're not good for a whole journaling bit, like I could still journal on here and tuck that, right? Or put it to the top of my page, just like this. It would still work as a journaling square. So that's what I did with that page. And like I said, I still have the option of cutting out of here if I want to, but I also have the option of using this side and yet still have some ready to go. Okay. And then the rest I think are still full pages. So we still have this beautiful black floral, well, it's kind of more of a leaf than a floral, and then this yellow. So I'm going to set this one aside because I am looking for a yellow background today. So we're going to keep that out. I have this one. I kind of want to use this one with some of these arches, so because I have an idea for that, but we'll see how that plays out because I also am thinking, actually, I might use this one for a background. Okay, set that aside. Actually, I think I have two of those. I think my pack just accidentally had an extra one. Yes, it did. Okay, so I guess there we go. This one is a very like geometric shape. I could fussy cut any of these shapes if I wanted some tucking pieces, but I decided to just leave it and wait and see what I'm going to do with it because I also like this tone on tone orange, so I'm not sure, but that's not the background I'm looking for today. I want yellow today. We have this leaf floral. Oh, I might use that for a stripe strip today. I have an idea for this one, so I think I'm going to use this side as my background paper. There's also this tone on tone orange grid. And then we have this one, which I could also cut some of these shapes out of, but I decided to leave it for now. Okay, I felt like I had enough for what I was going to do. So I think we're going to start with this one. I like the grid better than the what looks like kind of like a geometric sun shape. So I think I'm going to start with this for my background. And I have already printed my photos and matted them in white cardstock. So just plain white cardstock, just a small 1/8 of an inch border around the outside. And I'm missing a letter sticker. But I might have to grab another sticker because I don't see where that one disappeared to. It's going to, oh, here it is. Did you see it the whole time and you were like, it's right there? Okay, so that's going to be my title, my photos, my journaling. Okay, so I already did that in advance. I used the Epson, I can't talk, Epson PictureMate 400 online or for printing my photos, and they are, it's like the best little workhorse ever. I also have, what's it called? EcoTank large format printer that also prints photos really nicely. So if I'm at home and printing, so I'll use either one depending on whatever pops up first. usually is how I decide that. But when I go away, I definitely take that little picture made. Hi, Alana. Welcome. Thanks for coming tonight. You are watching live. This is a live stream. Welcome. Thanks for coming. Yeah, so we're going to be creating a layout here tonight. So we're using the Paige Evans Legendary Collection, and it is super fun. So I'm going to start by cutting this to, I did say I might use this red around the outside. So let me just see if I actually like the way that looks. Yeah, I think I'm going to go for it. Okay, so I'm going to cut this down to 11.5 by 11.5. There we go. Make sure I'm lining that up right. How's everybody doing tonight on a Tuesday? I'm happy to have you here. If you're watching currently, I appreciate you being here. If you're watching from the future, I appreciate you too. Thanks for coming out. If you want to create along with these layouts, you can shop at Joe's store. We ship everywhere, I think, in Canada. So if you're interested in ordering, please go to the shop at Create Red Deer and hit the shop online button. Or you can, if you're local, you can pop into the store, say hello, buy the things. And if there is something that you're looking for and you're not sure, you can always message Jo and ask her if her wholesaler or supplier has it and if she can order it for you. You're having a snowstorm? Yeah, I know, right? We thought we had spring. Hi, Ruth. Welcome. Good to see you. Yeah, I actually was in Kelowna on the weekend, and it snowed when we were... I was like, wait, I came here to get away from the snow. Why is it snowing? And then our kids were like, you brought the snow with you. How dare you? So, did not escape the snow. But we had a good time anyway, so... We went out to this winery that we'd been to on our wine tasting, and they had set up in the winter. They had, it's called Frind. I might be saying that wrong. Anyway, they had these like igloo things that you can eat your meal in. So out on the patio, they had set up these, I think they were plexiglass or acrylic maybe, hexagon pieces that were shaped into these igloos, and it was so freaking cool. And you go inside and there's a little heater in there so you're warm. They also had blankets laid out on the chairs, and it was just so beautiful. And then especially when the sun went down, we had a cloudy night, but it would have been really, because like I said, we brought the snow with us, but it would have been really, really pretty to sit under the stars like that, I think. So that was pretty cool. And we didn't get the stars because it was too snowy or rainy. I guess at that point it was just raining, but yeah, that was super fun. We had a good time, and it was a unique and cool experience. But at one point I look over, and the people in the next igloo next to us, they were like pointing and like being very dramatic and pointing into ours. And I was like, anybody know what these people are pointing and getting all excited about over there? And everybody's like looking around, and my husband freezes, and he's like, there's a mouse in here. So the people across from us could see the mouse running under our tablecloth and running out and running under. And I mean, that's the beauty of eating outdoors, I guess. But my daughter-in-law, who loves little furry creatures, was pretty excited about it. My husband was frozen. It was quite funny. So he was not going to be the protector, that's for sure. The mouse didn't bother us. He ran in and out while we had our dinner. He didn't come up on the table or anything, so no big deal. But it was fun. It was a unique and exciting experience. And I always love hanging out with my adult kids. They're so much fun. Great people. So and we got all nerdy too. My husband and I went to the our son was still in class when we arrived, so we went to the bookshop at the university and bought UBC mom and UBC dad shirts and wore them around the campus until he got out of class and he was like, what are you doing? And we're like, you invited us. Here we are. Hi. Are you excited to see us? I don't know if he was, but it was fun. We were cute, I thought. Not sure he agreed. That's okay. We wore them around all day long, everywhere we went. It was good times. Okay, so now that I have my base of my layout, and I'm just using a little bit of Tim Holtz Distress ink in Black Soot to go around the outside edges of everything. So if you're looking for some distress inks, you can definitely check out the shop. If Joe is not holding the color that you have in the shop, you can always ask her if she can order with her next order from Ranger the color that you're looking for. And I am going to look at Christy's Beautiful Life 30 Days of Sketches today because the sketch matches with the number. Actually, I had a 1 photo printed first, and then I saw that the sketch didn't call for it, so I printed more. So it's okay. So this is the sketch. It's hard to see on there. It doesn't like to focus. It is by Sheena Sparks, and it's a hand-drawn sketch. I love 30 Days of Sketches because these sketches are made exclusively for Christy's Beautiful Life 30 Days of Sketches. So some of them are hand-drawn. You don't have to be a pro sketch maker to participate, which is kind of awesome. So we get everybody's ideas. I love it. So along the bottom, she makes little notes on her hand-drawn sketches too. So down here it says solid stripes. So we have a solid stripe, and then a torn strip. Okay, so let's see what we've got. Let's cut into some of our things that are maybe already started. So we've got that. We've got this one and this one. So those ones are already cut into. So let's see if we can make something happen out of these. So what if we started down here with the darkest color, because it's going to be the heaviest color on the page, and we want it to be at the bottom, right? So how about one of these, geometric blue, tone-on-tone blue. This is the color that the alpha comes in, if you're curious. But I have this one by Doodlebug, and it is called Blue Jeans Alphabet Soup. And I know that some of these are in the shop still too, so definitely check. There we go. So that one is cute. We can also do a row of either one of these, kind of like this smaller pattern to kind of be different than what we have here. So those two, and then maybe one of these. I said last time when I was showing this that this Living My Story paper would be a cool strip. So maybe we can do something with that too. Okay, so let's do 3 strips of paper. They look to be, if I was going to guess based on the sketch, about 1 inch. So Alana is asking on the paper route side of things, she's asking, can someone help me find this live on YouTube? I found the site even the last year, March Madness, but can't seem to find it today. So I think she's talking about 30 Days of Sketches. Is that right, Alana? Let us know. There we go. So that's about 1 inch. Do 1 inch off of this side. There we go. And because we were all doing 11 and a half, right? 11 and a half. Hmm, 11 and a half. And 11 and a half. Now, if I was really smart and planned that ahead, I would have just left the yellow not attached to the frame and added the strips and then trimmed them later. Okay, so let's see. We can do, I like the blue at the bottom as the heavier color. Okay, so let's do some inking of edges. Oh, you want the video on a big screen? I see what you're saying. So yeah, after this is finished, I have to download it from Facebook, and then I usually edit it a little bit for YouTube, and don't include all of the things just because there's a lot of moments where I'm just quiet and I don't say anything, or sometimes the showing of the product, if it's not current, I'll take some of that out too. This one is pretty current, so probably leave it in, but I've been putting up some that are like a couple years old because Facebook took them all down. So we'll try to get as many as we were able to download before that happened back online. Okay. And then this last one has a torn edge. So we are gonna just give this a little bit of a tear down. Now, the side that you're tearing towards yourself is the one that's going to show white. So keep that in mind when you're ripping your paper. And giving a torn edge always just gives a little bit of something different on your page. So don't be afraid to tear down this edge. I sometimes forget to do that, so I like when the sketches will say that or show something that looks like a torn edge. So it's a good reminder for me to try things that I forget about. Because I like straight lines, but sometimes in a creative space like scrapbooking, you want a little bit of not perfection. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try to get my tape runner right along the outside edge. And then add it up here. And that way, if it's only along that bottom edge, I can still tuck things into the top of this torn piece, okay? Because if I'm not mistaken, it appears that these photos in the sketch, and I know it's really hard to see because there we go, are kind of tucked into that torn piece, right? So let's start with that. We'll get out our photos. So this is from, I believe, our trip in 2024. We went to Universal Studios for just a few days. It was a guilt trip. You ever been on one? So when I switched jobs, my husband planned a vacation for our kids and took them to two of the three and their partners and went to Disneyland with them. And I didn't have any holidays saved up, so they left me home over Mother's Day weekend alone. Which wasn't a terrible thing. I actually kind of like my own company, so it wasn't terrible. It was just Interesting. So I gave him such a hard time about it, he ended up taking me in September instead. When I did have a little bit of, actually, I think it was a year later in September when I actually had holidays banked up to use. So I call it my guilt trip. I guilted him enough that he didn't take me. And he took me, just the two of us. And we had kind of a lot of fun because we could do things that we wanted and didn't have to worry about anybody else's happiness. Had the joy of traveling as just adults, which we never got to do because we had our kids so young. That was never a thing for us. So it's new to us, all this fun traveling by ourselves. So, which reminds me, the month of May, there won't be any Scrapbook Live because I will not be in the country. And I don't think I'll have Wi-Fi on a boat. Not that I would probably bring my scrapbooking supplies that far. We're going to Europe on a cruise. Should be fun times. Okay. There we have it. That's the basics. We've got some papers down. We got some photos down. What else do we want on here? Next up would be, so in the sketch, she has a journaling block that also says title. So I'm assuming she was using the journaling block as a titling piece, but I am just going to put the title down, I think, because I think it will fit in that spot. Life in the Yellow Lane. Now what I could do is to cut out like a card, like a DIY journaling card of my own, but do I need to? Maybe I don't want my title just floating in outer space and I want to add it on something. So what could I add it on? Well, I could cut into a whole new color of paper, or I could use this blue again, but then this won't show up on the blue. I could use this pattern again because it will show up on there. Well, let's start because it looks like I'm gonna have to glue these stickers down anyways, which I won't make you watch. I'll do that after, but it'll at least give me the option to see it on the paper, and if I don't like it, I can always add another piece of paper after. So these are both Doodlebug Alphas. The sticker one is quite old, which is probably why it's not sticking to anything. I can't remember what it was called. This one, Hopscotch. Cardstock stickers in Ladybug color from 2007. How's that for old stash? So yeah. So they have the sign for the town. This is the ride they have there. It's like a broken roller coaster VR kind of ride. And then we just posed with some of the little characters that were there as well. And then there's also a torn piece up in this corner, which I could do, or I could flip the corner, which might be fun too. There we go. Instead of tearing the corner, I can just flip it, which might be fun. I'm going to leave that, see if I like it. And what else? We have our journaling. Where did my journaling go? I know it's here somewhere. There we go. So I can tuck my journaling in here. There we go. And then in the sketch, she also has a bunch of these little, what look like hearts, I think. So I'm thinking I could use the ones from here as those little finishing touches. Now I also have these things which I would like to maybe use, and I need to find a place for my date. And I was thinking too that I might add some lines on here. So maybe some stitching lines. I have this stitching stamp on my desk, which I love. So maybe I'll go ahead and use that. I don't think there's any like this in the store anymore, but I know that it's one that comes out every so many years. So just keep watching the stamps. This one is a close to my heart one. So of course, close to my heart's not in business anymore, but this is one of my faves. VersaFine ink you can get in the shop. It's archival instant dry pigment ink in onyx black. And this is an old case. The cases for it are better now, I think. I don't know. I haven't actually used them, but they look more like the kind of ones that like you pop them off the top instead of that flip lid. And then you can also get the refills, I think, at the shop. So don't forget to stock up on inks and things. There we go. Adhesive too, if you're looking for adhesive refills, make sure to check it out. And if, like I said, if the ones that you are your favorites aren't in the shop, make sure to ask, because Joe doesn't know to order them in if you don't say anything, right? So, okay. And oh, that one went a little crooked, but that's okay. There we go. So we have some little stitched lines that kind of went rogue at the end there, but that's all right. On there. What else? I was gonna look on here and see if there was anything. I like this one, Unfiltered and Unstoppable, because that's that speaks Bart Simpson to me. I don't know about you guys, but he was the journaling here just says the Simpsons were a TV favorite when we were growing up. So the Springfield area of Universal Studios, all nostalgia for us. And then just our photos there. Let's get that on there. Now let's see, do I feel like I want a banner piece or something to put my title on? I kind of do. So let me see what I can do here. I think what I'm going to do is my really high-tech measuring system of putting it on the paper and sticking my fingernail where I want to cut it. Anybody else? Yeah? I'm cool like that. Super high-tech. So we're bringing this color back up here, and we're going to put our title on there. So let me just ink it up. Sorry, I'm faster with the tweezers. I have my tea. Anybody else playing Roll Up the Rim? My Canadian friends, I keep winning donuts, and I don't eat donuts because I'm allergic to yeast. So, like, I guess the grandkids are getting a whole boatload of donuts at some point. And then I saw them last night, and did I remember to give them the donut things? No, I did not. That's okay. Okay, so that gives me a good idea of where my shape is, right? So I might even cut that a little narrower, cut a little strip off, and then I'm going to probably make a banner out of that. So let me grab my trimmer. I also have a very high-tech way of making a banner, a fishtail banner out of this, so watch this. So I'm going to cut it a little shorter because I don't want my banner to be that long. And it's just paper. Don't be afraid to cut it. It's okay. So this is about 3 1/4. So I'm going to go 1 1/2 and a little bit. It's my high-tech language. And then I'm going to go into the middle of that piece and I'm going to cut up the center. And then I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut from the corner up. Looks like I need to replace my blade. Up to the top of that line that I just cut in the center. And from the corner to the top of that line, and voila, we have a little fishtail banner. That's my high-tech gadget there. So I do like that better. A little bit of, gives it a little bit of color. And I can tuck this kind of in behind there. There. So I will need to glue those down properly, but I'll do that, like I said, off camera. This, do I like that down like that? Or do I want a piece of this and tuck it in behind? What do you think? Better? Mm-hmm. It's kind of fun, right? Thanks. Yeah, I like the banner too. So there, and we have our little thing in between, and now we have this color here, here, and here, and that gives us our visual triangle. It's called a rule, but it's not really a rule because scrapbooking doesn't have rules. You just get to do what you want when you play with your paper, right? Okay, what else we got here? I have we are both drinking out of a drink cup with a straw, so I think this might be a cool little ad somewhere. Just not sure where. And I'm gonna put some stars on here. There we go. And then I like this. I like the shape of this one, so that's going to go there. And we are going to add some of these little sprinkly bits in here. Let's see. We can put a heart with each one, or we can put a dot. I think I'm going to go with the dots. And I'm going to go with a blue. Nope. That's not what I want. I'm going to put a red one here. And what color do I not have here? We can put this one here. And then I think I'm going to put, there is no yellow ones, but I can put this orange one up here. There we go. So I think that's cute. Okay, liking it. And then up here, I think I'm just going to put probably one of these hearts, maybe this blue one. And then that takes that blue around the page as well. There we go. Okay, anything on this side that we want? I think we already looked here, didn't we? Yep. Okay, so I think we're good. Let's see. Do I want any of these? I just feel like it's not really the right sentiment, so we're going to leave it out. And I think we just need a spot for our date. So I preset my date stamp, and I think the date would go really nicely above unfiltered. So I'm just going to grab some ink, again with the VersaFine. And also, if you're looking for tools like stamping blocks, scissors, tweezers, make sure to check out the shop. And if it's not there and you're looking for it, make sure to ask, because like I said, Jo doesn't know what to order unless we tell her, right? So it's always helpful when we say what we want. There we go. September 16th, 2024. So I'll glue, like I said, I'm going to glue these down properly and this down properly. But this is the layout. So I will post in the Create Crew Facebook group. And I will be back next week. But I'm going to have to come back on Monday because Tuesday is date night. And I can't skip out on date night. It's not allowed. So I'll come back on the 16th, Monday the 16th. And I will put that in the group page so that we can remember. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm always happy to answer. Say hi if you're watching from the future. I love to know that you came here and saw what we were making. If you make something that even just kind of, it doesn't, if it's with Legendary, like what we're working with here, if it's with this same sort of layout but with different papers, if you just make something and you want to share it, make sure to share it in our Create Crew. It's been really quiet lately and I want to see what you guys are making. So happy to have you here. And if you want to go ahead and create these layouts that I'm making this month, make sure to go grab that Legendary collection. I'm using the 12 by 12 paper pad, the chipboard stickers, and the enamel shapes. There's a lot of options there as well if you want to buy the die cuts or the journaling pieces because you don't want to cut them out of your papers. That's totally cool. We have those options in shop as well. And don't forget to look at those fabric border strips. They're really cool. Yeah. So thank you for coming out and watching. And if you're watching from the future, like I said, don't forget to say hello. We love to hear from you and see you. And I hope you all are all well. I will see you next week on Monday, March 16th, and we will make another layout. Thanks for coming today, guys. Bye.